Hello, I'm Kathleen, and I'm a teacher and an artist, and today I want to share with you a fun, easy, loose, expressive painting of some blue flowers. You can follow along and just paint with watercolor, or you can add some mixed media elements, which I will include at the end of this video. So the first thing I did was I wet my paper with clean water, and then I went in and I just dabbed some blue paint randomly on my paper. I'm going for a very expressive style, and I'm not worrying too much about the end result. I'm just enjoying the process, and this is what's called intuitive art. If you're new to my channel, I love to create simple, total beginner painting and mixed media tutorials, so if you'd like to see more of those, please hit the subscribe button. What I'm doing now is I'm adding a little bit of blue to the background. My paper is still wet, and so the blue is bleeding out and expanding and getting a little hazy around the edges. And then I go back and I take some darker blue, and I'm just adding some darker details to the base of my flowers, and I'm just pushing the paint around a little bit. This is a very relaxing, meditative type of process. I like to put on classical music. You can listen to whatever kind of music that you enjoy. And now I'm just adding some green to the background. I want to give the impression of stems and leaves in the background, but because my paper is still wet, it's very light and it's very diffused. I'm taking my darker blue and I'm going in and just adding some more details. My paper is a little bit drier now, so some of the areas are looking a little more faded or hazy, and then some are a little more intense. And I'm just continuing to layer. I like to start really light when I'm working with watercolor. Watercolor does get lighter as it dries, but it's easier to build up and darken your colors through layers rather than starting really dark to begin with. My paper is dry now, so I'm going back and adding some additional details. And because the paper's dry, you might notice that the colors aren't bleeding out quite so much. So at this point, I'm just adding some additional details to the base of my flowers, and I'm going to continue on and just keep building my flowers and just trying to stay very loose, not worrying about what it's going to look like at the end. And I'll be back when I'm finished, and I'll share with you how to add some additional details using mixed media materials. Now that my watercolor painting is mostly complete, I'm taking two brushes and I'm loading one brush with paint and quite a bit of water, and I'm tapping one brush on top of the other, and that's going to create a spatter effect and just give me some texture. Your painting is complete, and you can stop here, or you can add some additional materials. I'm using wax pastels, but you can use regular Crayola crayons, and I'm just adding squiggly lines in some different colors. I'm using a light blue, I'm using a dark blue, and all I'm doing is just trying to add a little more definition to my flower and just create some expressive mark making. I used a darker green, and I'm trying to stay really loose and expressive with my marks. I'm adding a little bit of white highlights on my flowers, and now I'm using a very fine point ink pen. And I'm just doing some, again, more squiggly lines around the outside of my flowers and around the base of the flower and the stems, and I'm going to add some leaves, and just trying to be really uneven and loose and not worrying too much about how perfect my lines are, and just enjoying the process of expression and creating my own unique painting. So I hope that you enjoyed this process. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.